Chuck Fry here from Visual Velocity. As I've used Poppy AI, I've been super impressed with all it makes possible. But as someone who is a content strategist, I wanted to get a sense for the common pain points marketers tend to face and how Poppy solves them. So I gathered a large quantity of Poppy AI videos into a board and then asked that question to Poppy. It gave me 8 pain points along with corresponding bullets that summarized how Poppy solves them. Compelling stuff. But I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to give you a sense for how on target these observations are based on my own experience over decades of professional business-to-business content production, as well as over 20 years of being a solopreneur, producing all types of content, including blog posts, videos, e-guides, courses, and more. So let's dig in. When we're done, I predict you'll have a much better picture in your mind of the real value that Poppy AI brings to marketers. The first pain point it identified is information overload and research paralysis. In other words, marketers are drowning in competitor content, industry reports, and research materials. They can spend hours watching competitor videos and analyzing content manually. You know what that's like. You get into a 20-minute YouTube video and you don't know if it's really going to be worth your time investment. Also, marketers tend to struggle to synthesize information from multiple sources, such as videos, PDFs, podcasts, websites, and more. My observations about this pain point, from my experience building a marketing campaign that includes a competitive analysis, involves gathering a ton of information from multiple sources. Making sense of it all can be challenging. With information in so many formats, it's hard to see patterns or to synthesize information into a cohesive form. How does Poppy solve it? First of all, instant video analysis. You can upload competitor YouTube videos into a workspace and get key insights instantly without watching all of them. Multi-source synthesis. You can combine videos, documents, and websites in one workspace and analyze them all very quickly. Pattern recognition. The AI engine behind Poppy identifies successful strategies across multiple competitors automatically and extracts them so you can see them and figure out how to differentiate what you're doing. The second pain point is maintaining brand voice consistency across platforms. What's the problem? It's hard to maintain authentic voice across multiple content formats because you're doing all this manually. Generic AI-generated content often doesn't match your brand personality. We've certainly seen a lot of that. There's so much generic AI-generated content on the web today. It's incredible. And it may be time-consuming to train the AI tools on your brand voice. It may very well be a trial and error process. My observations, I've planned and executed plenty of multi-channel campaigns in my time. Most of the time, the brand voice is something that you keep in your head as you write copy. In some cases, you may document it in one central location, but many times it's a bit more ad hoc than that. So if you're adapting a set of content to different platforms, it can become a hit or miss effort if you're not careful. So how does Poppy AI solve this problem? First of all, it has a voice learning system built in. You can upload existing content to train AI on your specific tone and style. Cross-platform consistency. You can apply that learned voice that Poppy has discerned from your content across different content types and have it write the content for you. Authentic output. Poppy AI writes as if it was me, according to user testimonials. The third pain point is scattered workflow and tool fragmentation. In other words, you're juggling multiple AI subscriptions such as ChatGPT, Claude, and so forth. Your research is probably scattered across browser tabs, documents, and notes. There's no centralized workspace for campaign planning and execution. My observations on this pain point, this is a very real challenge. I work as the content strategist for a medium-sized manufacturer. I use multiple tools throughout my typical business day, including Microsoft Word and Excel, PDFs, Asana, SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, and Salesforce Pardot, not to mention ChatGPT and Claude. It's a common problem. Each tool is designed to do a specific task very well. None of them is really designed to play well with the others and facilitate a centralized workspace for campaign planning and execution. In addition, I should point out they all rely on linear information formats. In other words, words and paragraphs in a long document or list. None of them offer a visual thinking and planning environment. How does Poppy AI solve it? First of all, it offers multiple AI models. You can access ChatGPT for quick queries, for example, while you could also use Claude for longer form content, playing to the strengths of each tool. Visual organization, whiteboard-style workspaces keep everything connected. And here's a very new development, which Poppy just announced. You can actually format the AI output as a mind map. That's remarkable, because up till now you could create mind maps within Poppy on the research side, but never for output. The fourth pain point is time-intensive content research and analysis. You can spend hours manually analyzing competitor content, for example. It's hard to identify viral content patterns and successful hooks. You really have to work at it hard in order to extract that level of best practices from within hours of content. My observations, the pain point Poppy has identified here falls into two classes: analyzing current messaging of your competitors and your own brand. The second is analyzing best-in-class marketing materials to figure out what they're doing right so you can be inspired by their style and approach. Most marketers I know never get around to the latter part, except perhaps in their spare time. But it does represent a huge opportunity to improve engagement and lead generation for your content. How does Poppy AI solve this problem? First of all, it automates competitor analysis. You simply upload competitor videos and content, and it extracts the patterns and best practices from it. Hook and strategy extraction. Poppy AI also identifies successful formulas from viral content, which you can then apply to the content that you generate on your own out of Poppy AI. Research time compression. Typical user testimonial says research time can be compressed from 2 hours to as little as 15 minutes. Next, content ideation and strategy development. What's the pain point here? Creative blocks when developing content strategies. Difficulty connecting disparate ideas into cohesive campaigns, and time-consuming brainstorming and planning processes. My observation, whether you're a solopreneur or work on a corporate marketing team, the challenges are very similar. You have far too much to do and far too little time to get it done. Brainstorming is something of a luxury. Figuring out how to turn those ideas into cohesive, persuasive branding messages is a whole other challenge. Having a tool that is purpose-built to help you with this important step in the content planning and strategizing process would be very helpful. So how does Poppy AI address this pain point? First of all, visual mind mapping. You can connect ideas spatially to see their relationships. By the way, it also helps you to see what's missing. AI-powered ideation. You can generate content ideas based on your niche and voice. And finally, strategic planning. Experts at Poppy talk about a 3-group system: tone, reference, and content, for creating a systematic approach. Each of those gets a separate block, and you can upload resources to that, and that tends to result in the best output from Poppy AI. Multi-platform content adaptation. This pain point is all about creating platform-specific content variations manually. It takes a long time. Maintaining message consistency across different formats can sometimes be challenging. And let's face it, it's time intensive to repurpose content for different channels, time that we often don't have. My observations, yes, it can be time consuming, definitely. In my job, it's very common to write a blog post and then repurpose it into an email and a LinkedIn post. Each one requires different lengths and styles of copy. That can be time consuming. So how does Poppy AI solve this problem? First of all, it does the content repurposing for you. You can transform long-form content into platform-specific variations. Of course, as with every other AI tool, you don't have to take Poppy's output verbatim. You can use it as a starting point to tweak and nurture it into what you need it to be, but it's, from my experience, it's pretty darn close. Format adaptation. You can adjust content structure for different platforms while maintaining the core message. Again, as we talked earlier, that can sometimes be a challenge. Batch processing. You can create multiple content pieces efficiently from a single source. Number 7, audience research and voice of customer analysis. What's the pain point? It's hard to analyze customer feedback and comments at scale. If you are in a business that generates a lot of customer feedback, such as a consumer products company, there's a lot to analyze. And it's time intensive to extract insights from these audience interactions. It's hard to see the patterns. You struggle to incorporate authentic customer language into your marketing. So it's not only a research problem, it's also an output problem. My observations, I should point out that the obvious use of Poppy AI, of course, is to identify recurring problems customers are having. But the AI may help you to identify opportunities for new products or services for customer needs or pain points that are currently unmet. That could really be valuable to your business. So let's talk about how Poppy AI solves this problem. First of all, it can do comment analysis. You can upload screenshots of customer responses for instant insights. You don't even have to upload actual text. You can upload screenshots that contain text, and it can read that. That's cool. Voice of customer extraction. It can pull authentic language from audience interactions, which you can then use in your marketing materials. And when they hear the terms they use parroted back to them, that immediately creates a connection. And finally, insight synthesis. You can combine multiple feedback sources for a comprehensive understanding of your customers' needs and problems. Finally, campaign planning and stakeholder alignment. What's the problem here? First, it's difficult presenting research and strategy to stakeholders. There's so many moving pieces. Lost files and scattered information, especially during approval processes, can be challenging. And it's time intensive to plan and produce campaign documentation. My observation, the board is an excellent way to keep everything organized. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it a presentation medium, something you could show to clients or your higher ups in your company, but I think it's a great tool for keeping all your research organized so you can be more effective. So how does Poppy AI solve this problem? First of all, visual presentation of information, centralized documentation. All the elements are in one visual workspace, making it easy to find what you need. And source tracking. Every insight is linked to the original source for credibility, and that can be very valuable. So, as you can see, there's a pretty strong use case for Poppy AI for marketing research, planning, and content production. I would say it's a no-brainer. To learn more about what this fascinating application could do for you, look for the link to my product review in the video description below. I hope you found this useful. Thank you.